We have a panel discussion next, and this is on the topic of dye and mold innovations for tomorrow. And it is truly integral to always talk about what we have in store for tomorrow, because living in the present is as important as knowing what we can do for the next day. For this, I'm going to invite our moderator on stage, who's going to take us through our panelists and also take the discussion forward. Post the panel discussion, I'm also going to request the moderator to include about 2 to 3 minutes of engagement time with the audience, wherein we could take a few questions from you. So if you do have any questions, we'd like to encourage you to actually ask it, make it interactive, because all of the sessions that happen for your reference are to incite you to actually participate in any way that you think that is right. So I'm going to encourage you to ask in questions if you think that those questions need to be answered. But in the interest of time, we'll take just a few questions, and the rest can obviously be asked during the networking breaks that we have. Also, still people excited for the iPads? Nobody? Oh. So yesterday we had 5 hands. Today, how many people getting in? Great. How many people lucky Thursday? For how many people Thursday is lucky? Yeah, 22nd lucky date for anybody? Nice. Anybody's birthday today? No? Anybody's birthday yesterday? We wanted a party. Yeah, your birthday yesterday? She told us yesterday. We had cocktails yesterday. I would have given you the bill for that. Just kidding. Ladies and gentlemen, with this, let's invite our moderator for the panel discussion. We have Dr. Vishwas, Business Head, Amace Solutions Private Limited, joining us for this discussion. Could you please invite him up on stage? There he is. I'm going to hand it over to his expertise to introduce the rest of the panelists and take it forward.
Good afternoon, all of you. It's a privilege to be here. Thank you so much, Tagma, for inviting me. I come from the machine tool industry. So allow me to introduce I welcome our other panelists. Please join me on stage. Parashar, sir, please do. Mr. Das, sir, please join me. Unfortunately, one of our panelists couldn't make it, so it'll be the 3 of us, 3 panelists who will be talking on this topic today. Great. So innovation, we've had a wonderful 1.5-day session. I'm sure all of you have enjoyed the presentations, the talks, interesting perspectives that we've had end OEMs, we've had tool makers, we've had machine makers speak and give their insights about what they've been doing differently and how their perspectives are different. So today we'd like to hear it from our eminent panelists about innovation, something that is the order of the day. We all have heard, seen, we've spoken about China, we've spoken about global perspectives, we've compared notes with how the industry itself is growing. We've heard people speak about man, material, method, machines. We'd like to hear it from our panelists today to find out what actually is happening from an innovation perspective, from a technology perspective, what we all need to take home as tool makers or contributors to this industry, how we can work towards innovation. We all agree today, this, as the saying goes, innovate or perish. We cannot stagnate with our old technology that we've been working on. We have to do things differently. We have to do different things and be different, create value propositions, which would definitely differentiate us from competitors, both from a global perspective, be it China or other countries. So I'd like to, with that as an introductory note, I'd like to request each one of our panelists to introduce themselves first in a couple of minutes, and then we'll straight jump to the questions that we've lined up today. So over to you, sir.
So good evening, everyone. So I am Amit Kumar Parashar, working as a CEO in Subros. we have a captive tool room, and I'm also a Tagma EC member. Thank you.
Yeah, good afternoon all. Myself Paresh. I'm a founder member of CAMTools, and I'm also EC member, and this is my 5th year as a EC member, and truly enjoying working with every professionals here in this team. Thank you.
Good afternoon, all. My name is Shatyabrata. I work for a company called IAC, that's the International Automotive Components. Basically, we are system. We do all the car interiors. Mostly, we work for Mahindra. We source closely. 300 molds per annum. And that range from 50 ton to 3,200 tons. So that's and we have presence in India. We have 5 factories in India, and we have companies in multiple locations also. So that's my introduction. I work as a senior general manager there, and also responsible for the tooling development activities at International Automotive Components. Thank you.
Thank you, panelists, for that introduction. So let's jump straight into the questions. So my first question would be to Mr. Paresh Panchal. Sir, from your perspective, innovation, this is a question that always lingers around in our head. From a tool maker's perspective, what do you think are the innovations that are currently happening? What are people working on from your perspective? What are things that people are working, or in general, what is happening in the industry itself as an innovation, and what do you think from your industry perspective is being done differently, innovatively? I mean, in our country, even jugaad is called as an innovation. We have a beautiful term which, in fact, someone said, every jugaad that if we'd patent, we'd be the highest patent owners in the world. But we have our own very innovative ways of finding a solution, challenges everyone's way, but we have our beautiful ways of finding a solution to overcome them. So from your perspective, what is it that currently is happening from an innovation perspective?
Yeah, there is, as you know, everybody is aware, there is a lot of things happening on digital manufacturing. So if you talk about innovations, particularly for the tool room industry, so if we start right from the tool design, so if you start from the CAD/CAM perspective, because I myself was once a CAD/CAM champion, and I still aware of the CAD/CAM and CAE technology very much. I keep myself updated. So what's happening on the designing of the molds? There's a good wizard-based systems are coming up. The new generations are really smart. They are though trained for 3 years as a diploma, but they are smart enough. And if we give them the some basic training, they are up within 6 months of time to do some basic things. Softwares are really becoming easy day by day. Lots of wizard-based things are there, where the softwares do guide us. Where do I take parting line? How do I remove this undercut? How do I do simulation of the mold? That is very important. We have to simulate the mold to see the complex undercut. How does it come out? That's on the CAD part. Quickly, I'll move to the mold flow softwares. That is also updating. There are a couple of more mold flow softwares are coming up, which is cost effective than the other software. So there are 3-4 softwares available. We have to see at the price point also. So mold flow also becoming is not a bottleneck what used to be 7-8 years ago. Now things are quite easy. Professionals are available, and softwares are getting easy. Programming side, yes, of course, Y-axis, high-speed machinings are there from the years together. But what do we need to focus on the automation side? So most of the tool makers, we have all, more than 6 to 10 CNC range, if I talk. Most of us are having ATC. So my question to all tool makers, are we using our ATCs? I don't think most of us, I don't know. So we have to check. So what I would like to say, make use of basic automations, that is ATC maximum. I remember Ravindra sir visited my shop 7-8 years ago, and he asked me, why your machine is idle, or why you are not using ATC. He too started asking in his typical style, questioning my team. So what question? And then he said, what Paresh is going to do? He's going to charge me because your machine is idle. So ultimately, Paresh is not paying. I am paying for your inefficiency and how you are going to improve on those things. So why not the next job is plan? So planning is very important. Even we can do a basic planning in Excel, Excels are used everywhere. There are dedicated softwares available nowadays, but we can start with Excel and gradually ramp up to the proper automation and proper planning softwares. So these are the things. 3D printings, my colleague is going to cover, and it's enough talk is happening on that thing. Most of the people are aware. So that's it from my side.
Very interesting. Thank you, sir. So next, Amit sir, your perspective on the same question. Your view on innovation, what is happening today, generally from an industry perspective, and what do you think that people have to be doing currently to address the concept of innovation?
So I think if we see today's scenario, there's a lot of talk about competing with China and Taiwan. And there are two places where we get beaten is on the cost front, and the second thing is in the timeline, meeting the timeline, which are, I think they are quite competitive. I think Indian tool rooms are overcoming that thing by implementing the planning software. So I think that is a one big gap area where tool rooms are not using a proper planning software. One simple mold is having around 300 to 450 parts, and any tool room making 100 molds even per annum, you can imagine the kind of tracking they require. So unless you have, and like Paresh ji has talked of the machine being idle, finally it is a cost. And these planning software, if you have a good planning software, then you can also plan the loading of the machines, and you can predict when the next loading will going to come. So there is a lot of people who are coming into this. Some branded names are also there who have launched various products. I think it is high time where each tool room should evaluate all these products and what is most suitable to them. We have also implemented one planning software, and I think we have checked around 4 to 5 products lines, and then when we shortlisted based on the cost merit and the feature merit based on that. So I think it will all depend upon the kind of work which each tool room is doing and what is most suitable, but definitely this is a required product. Second is the cost innovation. I think right now the work is more in-centric. It means the tool rooms are working more from cost saving perspective, from the point of view what they can do and save cost in the consumables. Whether it is the tooling or whether it is the consumables like copper wire which gets used up in the wire cut machines and things like that. So these will give you surely some advantage, but this is not a leap bound what we are looking for as a cost thing. Naturally, we'll be discussing those things which require higher technology innovation. Thank you.
Very interesting perspective. So the cost innovation is something that we all should focus on. Next, moving on to Mr. Das, your perspective on current trends on innovation, maybe from a software perspective, from a maybe a material perspective, or a new methods perspective. What do you think is currently happening from innovation in your organization or generally in the industry?
Yeah, thank you. Let me, I echo with both these panelists to what they talk about. Paresh, I can understand his sentiments with the softwares because I also know that he was a great guy then who was dealing with this CAMTools software, which we are using today. So coming back to the topic which we are discussing, that what are the technology we are going to have in future. Let me just put a pause here for a second and let us see that what are the technology we already have with us and how many of us are using that technology. That's what I want to know, because we talked about mold flow. I mean, can people raise hand who are, the tool makers, those who are there in the room, those who are here? How many tool makers are here, please? Great, great. But how many of you have mold flow software with you? Hands are reducing. Okay. How many of you have the 5-axis with you? Great. So, knowing technology, actually we already knows about all this technology before, 5 years before, 10 years before, but we are not able to use it because there are a lot of things attached to it. I mean, the tool makers like Sridevi and all, I'm taking their name, because they can invest on. Okay, so coming back to that, first thing is that what we have, what we know, we'll have to do that. That is point number one. If every tool maker is capable of having a mold flow station, a 5-axis machine, and a spotting machine, I think that is where the basic comes from, and from that point we can think of. We talked about, always we give a credit to China and Korea for, they make good tools, right? I absolutely agree with it. But no way, the Indian tool makers are no way they are behind. We also, I think the data of TAGMA talks that I think 70% are still we do in-house, right? We only get 30% out of, we import 30% of the mold. So these all 70% tools we make in-house, and with the limited technology we have, I think we should clap for ourselves. We are doing a great job here. Sometimes it is difficult to clap for yourself, right? Okay, then coming back, what exactly the things which we are talking about, the monster term everybody's talking about, Industry 4.0, and what are the technology that is being coming into it. Don't look at it in that perspective. If I say for a mold maker or for a company like me, let me split these, these Industry 4 into my requirement. Okay. So what I expect, if Paresh is making a mold and Vishal is giving a HRS system, are this mold and HRS system talking to each other? Are they connected to each other? Are they passing on the data to each other so that sometime the HRS system in the mold is going to say, okay, I'm not going to work from tomorrow onwards because I have an issue with me. That's what in industry I 4.0 is talking to you. And if my mold running in my company and I get a data from my mold that there is an issue which is going to come after, say tomorrow, or there is a breakdown, or there is something which I have been programmed to my mold that after these many sorts it's not going to, operate. That is what I 4.0 is. If I can collect every data from the subfloor to the top floor of my company where my CEOs are sitting and they can see those data on their iPad or phone, that is 4.0, right? So let us simplify that. So these are the technology I'm talking about. A lot of things are being talked since yesterday. We saw about the Makino, they gave a presentation of the machines they are making where you can eliminate the polishing of the tool. And some gentleman was talking yesterday, I'm sorry, I'm not able to recall the name, but he was talking that we don't spot the tool. We don't blue match the tool. That is something. And what is the technology he is using? It is all here. It is all here. I am not going to touch the tool with a grinder. It is all here. If anything happens, I will change it up. That's all here. So that's what we need to do. Whatever limited technology we have in our hand today, we need to pull up that. We need to work together. We need to bring up the tool makers up so that, we compete. Still I will use this word compete with the Chinese or Korean tool makers. I think that's my takeaway for this. Yeah. Thank you.
Very interesting. Thank you. Taking on from that point, let's look at innovation that is done in-house. My question to Paresh bhai, you're one of the very innovative companies. We'd like to know how the point that Mr. Das mentioned about a smart company. See, today we all are hard-pressed for money. We are a very risk-averse country. We are very careful when we have to spend. We always think twice. We hear jargons of Industry 4, but we don't know how we can make use of it. But we've heard about very interesting perspectives of how you have made use of this technologies very innovatively. We'd like you to share your experience of how you put that together very cost-effectively and very smartly without having to spend an arm and a leg for implementing this in your own way. We'd like to hear your experience about it.
Right. Mr. Das has touched the very right point, that is about IoT and Industry 4 and the data collection, shop floor to the top floor. So, we also started this exercise, and being as a medium-sized tool room, when we started exploring what are the IoT and cloud-based technology available, we found very, very expensive things as per my company size. But later we found out, the usage of cloud data, usage of cloud for tool making, particularly if I talk, is nowadays very, very easy, thanks to COVID, which teaches about the Teams. We started interacting with each and everyone on Teams. So Microsoft has a very nice product which we started exploring. So, right from RFQ to the tool dispatch data, we have everything on cloud. Nowadays, typically, Tier 1 and OEM will send data on Thursday evening, and they expect quotations ready by Monday. And maybe after 3 weeks, again back on Friday evening, they may call us and they say, you quoted for 40 molds and I would like to finalize these 15 molds, which you are also kind of L1. And to retract that data, suppose we in a week time quote more than 40 to 60 molds. So I need to be very much updated. I may be traveling or my team is working somewhere else. So data is stored on cloud. I can access those PDF through cloud and Excel on my mobile and laptop very, very easily. So application of cloud is not expensive. It is just, as he said, the mindset, what we need to put. We need to, put younger generation. I work a lot with trainees in my company. So they are really smart boys and girls. So they know how to use this technology like this, Wherever we stuck, they know the answer. So like our kids set up our mobile quickly, these youngsters do set up our cloud solutions very, very easily. Now regarding the IoT data, what he said. So as I said, the utilization of the machine has to be very accurate. So how do I measure whether, night shift, my spindle was on or off? So we are in process of implementing, we use some of the Siemens hardware for our molding plant, where the automatically data we keep on collecting from the machine, how many shots were produced, how many cycle times, and what was the cycle time he had used. It's very easily collectible, those data. Now, how do I make use of those data back on my mobile, or how do I understand? So we try to find out another softwares, again, which was a bit costly. So we got a solution from Microsoft. So they have a Power BI. Again, I take, I started working with youngsters. So we took 3 intern girls from one of the institute in Pune. So they are working as they are studying in a data science. So I told my, guy that some scientist is coming to our company. They said, who? Scientist? I said, data scientist. So I started calling them the data scientists, please come. So those girls, I told my bottlenecks that ये data है मेरे पास और इससे मुझे ऐसा graphical चीज चाहिए, and I showed them some of the website. They said, sir, we can do that. I was amazed. I said, fine. So they used Power BI and started reading those data, and I have up-to-date information what's happening on my molding machine, and we are means how much productive, what are the number of parts produced, whether the parts are rejected or no, and those data are now actionable. What top management need is a data, actionable data, not a bunch of data which confuses us. Bunch of sheets of Excel is no use to us. So those things are very easily available, and we are in process of implementing those things with CNC machines and EDM machine. So where we will be able to track what's happening on my machine shop.
Fantastic, sir. They say what can be data, when you say what can be quantified, can be monitored. Absolutely. And what can be monitored can be controlled, and what can be controlled can be improved. So I think as top management, for most of us you hear, we end up doing micromanaging, and we lose or we get lost in the mundane routine activities. But if we are able to do something that specifically only the top management can do, which is what is him referring to in terms of reviewing the right kind of data, in terms of OEEs or your utilization times, I think we'll all be far more productive and get productivity out of our own equipment. So I think this is...
and one more thing. During talking to one of my very good friend from Nasik, Ashish, I don't know whether he is here or no, he is a tech-savvy guy. So he showed me another thing, that he developed the app. So, he can track everything through app. So I said, let me learn, how do you work out on the app. So even those apps are easily available. We can develop apps as per our need. And he's tracking his operations, delivery, everything through app. So that's
fantastic.
Really,
very impressive.
Good to learn from here.
I think the takeaway message from this is the hunger for innovation has to be top-driven. When the top management demonstrates this, I think a culture of innovation gets built into an organization, which is what is required for us to grow further and create a differentiation globally. So moving on, sir, again to you, Amit sir, your perspective on what we just left in terms of how can each one of us be different from a digital transformation perspective, from in any of our own way. What do you see should be different? How do people work in their own way to create a differentiation in or innovation?
So if we see right now that there are 4 aspects of the new technology which is going on. The first aspect is triple S, that is super smooth surface technology, where with the optimal speed, the best finish which you can get, so that you can avoid reworking and finally you can optimize the time as well as the your tooling cost also. So this triple S technology is fast moving across the world, and it is high time when in India also it gets adopted and the tool rooms have started moving into that. The second aspect is coming is the your high speed machining. In India normally we are talking about 15,000, 20,000 RPM, while the world or Taiwan, or if you talk of Korea or China, normal basic tool rooms are working at 40,000, 50,000 RPM. And that's where they are able to cut an edge as far as your cycle times are concerned. So these 2 aspects are very, very critical to reduce and optimize the overall time of the tooling. The third aspect which is there is the right CAD/CAM solution. Like Paresh bhai has also told that, because if you are using the right CAM solution, it can optimize the tool geometry with respect to the workpiece and the kind of the cut which has to be there. So it can optimize that thing and you can get a very good results and with very good finish. And lastly is the rapid tooling, because there is too much advancement which is happening now in the rapid tooling, whether it is the additive manufacturing and other aspects which are there. And we'll surely like to hear from you, because you are also into pioneer into that world. So we'll like to hear from you directly that what all advancement which has been taken, but surely around 40% of the time you can save through the rapid tooling. And nowadays with the steel also you can work upon in the rapid tooling. So these are some fantastic things. And the second aspect is the ECNs, like where if you have to have an undercut or profiles which are there, it's very easy in the rapid tooling. So I think these 4 aspects are the new technology innovations where the tool rooms have to move on. And we'll like to now hear from you what you have the perspective as far as the additive manufacturing and the new innovations which are there.
Sure, sir. Thank you. I'd want to hear Das sir tell us his perspective on new methods from a future perspective. What do you think is going to change? We all understand current trends. We discussed about that. But from a future perspective, where do you see the industry going from the West? What is it that people are working towards, be it automation in tool manufacturing, either design, manufacturing, post-processing, molding process, each of these, and also newer methods of manufacturing, your perspective. Then I'll bring in my views on the same aspects. Sir.
Sure. See, the trend, if I talk about the trends which everybody's been talking about, is the, what we are now implementing is the additive manufacturing. We are taking it, we have started implementing it, and we started understanding what is the benefit we are getting. Like the gentleman said right now, there were a lot of constraints in the tool making, the mold making. the problem with the cooling channel designing is itself is a tricky thing in mold making. I need not to reiterate that every time, but yes, that is the problem. So conformal cooling, which has given a value, at, I mean, it has reduced the cycle time, and it has increased the production. So that is the advantage we get out of additive manufacturing. Second is the speed to get the core or cavity inserts, getting it ready. I mean, in the subtractive manufacturing, the one which you traditionally we are doing it for past 10, 15 years or 20 years, for me at least, we take a block, cut it off, take a time, and all those nasty things, we do. Today, you just you take the powders. There are stainless steel powders and the other powders which are available, and you just print an insert for me, and then I just put it to my mold. Going ahead, there is something which is called hybrid manufacturing, and that's, I think, somebody was telling me, and I was fortunate to see. And simultaneously, you can build the part, you can 3D print the part, and you can machine it also. So it goes hand in hand. Okay. So these are the technology. I mean, these are the things which we have already started implementing to our system. That's for the mold. Coming back to my production facility, we have taken one plant of mine as an example plant, and wherein the way Mr. Paresh was saying, we are connecting every machines together. We are trying to link the molds also. Sorry? Molds also. Yeah, molds also. It might sound like machine and mold specific. No, it's not like that. I mean, I can calculate out that what is the efficiency I'm working on, what is the SMED I'm working on. So that project we have started with the smallest plant of IAC, we have started doing it, and that is how we are moving ahead. The next thing which I want to tell is, today we all are talking about, I think everywhere you see all this, they talk about 3F, that food, fertilizer, fuel. So for the people in this room and for us, if we want to go to the next level, because see, I'm coming from that perspective, like Industry 4, again, Industry Revolution 1. It took, after our existence, it took at least 200, 300 years to come to that steam engine. From there to Industrial Revolution 2, it took around 75 years, and 3 to 4, I think we jumped within 15, 20 years of time. So what is that is going to take us forward is the new field is the data. So as much data we have with us, what these the giants like Google and the people those who are with Apple world, they collect the data. So we need to collect our data inside our factory every minute. Every minute data has to be there so that we can, and those data will give us a direction. What are we doing? So people, those will have much more data with them from our perspective, those who are sitting here, and they are going to lead forward. So I think combination of all these things, like technology coming in, you have the data with yours, and you have a will to do it. I think that's the approach we at least in our company, we are approaching in that way. Of course, I don't say that we are a leapfrog on that. We are going with our baby steps now, but we have a vision that we should connect one plant first and then go to the next.
Yep. Yes, please, sir. Please.
Yeah. Can I ask you one question, sir? Please. Yeah. Regarding the conformal cooling, what you said is right. Yes. So, are you going to standardize in future RFQs that tool makers should use conformal cooling in this critical area? And because these are the expensive thing. So if you can identify those critical area based on your experience of the last geometry, what you have done, so we can build up in our quotation, and we can print from the service bureaus available here, and even their company can help us out. So if you can standardize or you can ask those things in your RFQ things, That will be really helpful to us, and you will take benefit of that thing, sir.
Yes, I completely agree with Paresh. We typically what we do is during the design review phase, when we review the design with the tool maker, we find those areas where we cannot approach with the normal cooling, or baffle cannot be there. Okay, a thin cross section which is going up, we cannot have those fancy materials there. So during the design review phase, we decide where to go for the conformal cooling. Because you only make a conformal cooling in the tool, that is not the end of the job, because you need to run the tool with that environment inside your factory to get the actual output of it. Yeah, but that's the right point. It has to be decided during the design review phase. I think in the RFQ it will be a difficult part. Maybe but in the design review phase, yes, we are doing that. Yes.
Yeah, regarding the same, I have a question to you, Dr. Vishwas.
Yes, sir.
Since your company is doing a lot of innovative things, apart from CNC machining, you are doing something on the 3D printing, metal 3D printing part. So I understood you are printing some of the live inserts. So can you educate all of us that what are you doing at your company and how it will be useful to the mold makers? Because it is a make in India machine, what I understood. So please share on those technologies.
Sure, sir. Thank you for the question. Actually, as I said, we come from the traditional machine manufacturing, which is the CNC machines. Most of you would be familiar with the ACE Micromatic Group. We have a presence of over 60,000 machines in India and outside. More than 3,000 machines are in the die mold industry itself in India. We've been supporting most of you in making the dies and molds. So that has been our traditional business. But we also have been threatened many years ago, telling our days could be numbered in terms of what could be disrupting us, as just like how the electric vehicle business was or is disrupting the combustion engine business. So what came up as a curiosity for us to explore and find out what additive manufacturing has in store for us ended up becoming a passion today. And about 6-7 years ago, from being a complete novice, not having known anything about additive manufacturing, what started off as a small R&D project in metal 3D printing or additive manufacturing, today we've gone about printing more than 120 die inserts and few thousands of parts which we have sent all around the country, and including to the moon. We have been part of Chandrayaan project and many other ISRO missions. And more importantly, today we have our own machines. So we are machine makers basically. So though we've printed parts, that's only to support our own knowledge and to support our customers and to understand what a customer needs more. So with that, we've launched our own machines, metal 3D printing machines made by us, designed and developed completely by us in India. And today, very fortunate to say that even the mold makers in India have started using our machines, and we have been successful in doing that. From having known nothing, there are a few patents also we've been granted for our machine, which we've done differently, and very happy to be sharing that today. And our intention is very similar to how about 30 years ago the CNC machines that were introduced by us was able to bring down the overall cost of manufacturing. Today our intention is to see how we can bring down the overall cost of additive manufacturing. It's the price comparisons are huge when you look at what you can make out of a German machine vis-a-vis what can be made out of locally available powders, locally made machines, and local manpower. So with this, we believe we can revolutionize from a global perspective. This is what we have done. So we are happy to support in any which way to any of the mold manufacturers that they would be interested. My 2 cents on this topic is not every mold or not every insert is 3D printable. There has to be a lot of back and forth interactions. There has to be a lot of engineering evaluation to be done for a mold to find the real value in it. Unless it can be made differently, unless it can be made for a specific reason, either your rejections are high. We've had customers who've used our tools, I'm not at liberty to take names, where they've gone about reducing their die casting blowhole rejections from maybe about 3 or 4% to almost 0 because they were using conformal cooled inserts. So like this, We've had plenty of success cases which we can share at another platform, but my perspective is, sir, we have to come one step forward. It's not a ready-made solution. There's no one-size-fits-all. We encourage each one of you not to hush it or sideline it, telling it is an expensive technology. This could be a differentiator for all of us. Unless we come forward, we'll never be able to learn and do things differently. So, coming back onto that, from that perspective, my last point to each one of you. So we've discussed multiple things. So in about 2-3 phrases, if each one of you would want to say, what is it that you'd want each one of our mold making friends here to take home and start doing differently from tomorrow, from an innovation perspective? Production is going on, work is going on, but how do you think they can think for a day after tomorrow? Not today, not tomorrow, but from a day after tomorrow, wearing their innovative hats. What are those 2-3 key points that you'd like to say in just about a minute's time? Each one of you can sum up. Then we can open it up for the audience to pose their questions. Yes, sir. We can start with Mr. Das.
Yeah, like I said, to sum up this, whatever we discussed, actually, taking technology forward is one. We need to learn and unlearn a lot of things. When I say unlearn, we need to unlearn the practices which we were doing decades ahead and what we are doing now also. And we need to learn the new technology. So that is the first thing we need to do is unlearn the past and learn the future which is going to come. The second thing which I said is the data. Data is the new fuel. Everything what we can from here to where we want to reach, and when we want to see everything is automated in tooling industry at least, because automations are, I mean, the i4 is being implemented everywhere. So in tooling industry, if you want to see the factory just like Nike or by Adidas, so it's a long way to go, and so data is going to help us. So I think these are the two takeaways from my side. Thank you.
Yeah, I would like to say, please become TAGMA member first if you would like to know how to make mold faster. Please keep on attending ITS. Please keep on visiting to Die Mold show, what we had just 4 months back. I'll say it is one of the best technological show. We can compare ourselves, our show with any international standards. So we had a best of technology for the demonstration. We had best of the CAD/CAM software. We had a best of the professionals coming internationally. So my request to all, each and everyone, please become members. We would like to mark up more than, our president vision is to mark more than 2,500 members. So he gave me target of 100 plus. So sir, I am committing, with this forum, I am committing 200 plus. So that's the way we should collaborate. We should exchange idea. We have to be transparent. As Akshay told himself that more Sridevi is required. So, let's work together for the benefit to the country. Thank you.
No, I just have one, not a question, just a query. The machine which you just talked about, what is the size of that? What is the size of insert we can print on that?
So our focus from the beginning has been large size, sir. So large sized tools and inserts can be made. So our machine is a 400 by 400 by 450.
Yeah.
So it can accommodate a lot of parts.
Thank you.
So we will publish on Tagma Times your case study.
Absolutely.
So whenever you are ready with the, those live case studies,
Sure.
so that is also, keep on reading Tagma Times. So that is also way to be,
Thank you. So your concluding remarks.
So I would like to put 3 points because there's a lot of innovation happening in the machine technology. I think it is a high time we work along with the machine manufacturers and the solutions which they have to offer, because many new technologies they are also working on and which will help the tooling industry. The second aspect is the steel manufacturers. I think a lot of, again, innovation and engineering is working on with, and their R&Ds are working on. In fact, when I was talking with my team that let's increase the pressure die casting tool life from 1 lakh to 5 lakh shots, and subsequent discussions I came to know Honda is working with one of the steel manufacturers to have a die life of 50 lakh. So the world is moving at a different paradigm. So this is high time we have to work on. The third aspect is the surface technology, the coatings. We can increase and enhance the tool lives by going with the latest technology innovations as far as the surface coatings are concerned. So I think my suggestion is to all tool makers is let us work on all these three aspects and gain from the technology advancement which is happening in all these three fronts. Thank you.
Thank you, fantastic. We've had people, today we've heard interesting subjects such as automation. Automation is not just for production, but it could be from a design perspective, from utilization of interesting software that could help us improve productivity, and of course, automation in the whole molding process itself. We've heard that. A lot of talk on data. We spoke about data all the way from shop floor to the top floor, which would help us improve ourselves in every perspective. We heard about using ATCs, very interesting. As milling machine users, we never look at that as a need for a tool manufacturing, so that came up very interestingly. Cost innovation, how do we make sure we look at every thread, every small tap that has to go in? We heard very interesting tools that were introduced yesterday by the Mitsubishi Group, very impressive, sir, to save time and effort. We heard about engineering and machine innovations, materials. 50 lakhs is an astronomically high number to imagine for any manufacturer, and coating. So I think these were some fantastic takeaways for most of us. We all have enough to work on and think on. So we have maybe 2 minutes. Do we allow the audience for 1 or 2 questions if anyone wants to bring out something from their head? Yes, sir, Ravi, sir.
Yeah. So first of all, I congratulate, thanks for the wonderful vision and sharing of this technology. But regarding the software of the mold for whatever it is, see, I slightly beg to differ on that. Rather than most of the tool room owning a 5-axis or a mold flow software, depends on the utilization or how efficiently they are going to, based on the ROI. If I'm going to use like I'm going to say a company making 5 or 10 molds in a month, how much I'm going, one is like, the basic thing, if you can buy a milk, why to buy a cow? Yes. See, if I have that's an external person who is available to give the software, the full solution for me, it's more easier solution, and it's becoming my variable cost than a fixed element. Not only having a software, then investing at a higher price, also having a person to run it, operate it, how efficiently we are going to use him full time, all those things. So that is where and that also another thing like either China or Taiwan model, where how you can work on a collaborative. Why not we think of a person in certain region, develop certain, all of those people, give more business, make them specialist on that mold flow analysis or 5-axis. So they will be experts on that. They get that business. We as an integrator can do the mold, concentrate on your critical area, which will be more successful model. That's what I think from the costing and the time factor part.
I absolutely agree with you. There are 2 aspects to look at it. Number 1 is we talked about the China and Korea model of working, wherein you see in clusters, there are a lot of VMC machine. I personally have visited a lot of them. That makes sense. But when it comes to mold flow, I think that is a very critical thing. I personally witness this, a lot of mold flow which comes to me from my tool makers are being done with somebody who is outside. He has an experience of 4 years, 5 years, he just fires a mold flow, get the data, and you read the data. So being, when I say that if people, those who can invest on mold flow, those people, those who have a mold shop or those who are making a mold inside the company and they understand mold, not only that somebody who is making a mold flow for the sake, he just fires the mold flow and get the data. So I want, if people can invest on that, that is going to get the accurate data, because nowadays customers has started demanding that you simulate the mold flow in the mold. Okay, with your 10%, 20%, 30%, 50% field, and my success rate with outsourced mold flow is not that good. Okay, that's the reason. If you are owning it, I know this cost is a factor. I mean, investing on a mold flow is something around 50 lakhs. So why somebody would go for it and not invest in a machine which can give him much output? So that's something we need to think on. But having a mold flow station within your control and with your supervision, I think that is what I was trying to say. But again, it depends on the budget. I completely agree with you. Yeah. And going further also, I just forgot to mention, a lot of machine manufacturers are sitting here. So I think somehow, these machines should get available to the tool makers at a cheaper price or something. This thought just came to my mind. I don't know how to do that. But if that can be done with a collaboration way, I think a lot of people can have those machines, 5-axis machines inside, because that's an aspiration. They want to have those machines. Okay, so that's from my side. If you want to add something.
Perfect. What you said is absolutely right. Or what Mr. Ravi would like to say, we need to have a common facility center where all the tool makers can go and take the advantage of it. So software cost is very high when it is pinching us also. So I agree. Yes, that's right. What's your thought, Amit san?
Yeah, I think many people are providing such services. It is but very much important that at least start using that thing, because it will reduce your rework for sure. We are experiencing it day in, day out while making molds or pressure die casting dies. Unless you do and use such CAE tools, you will only going to invest more while doing the reworking post your T0 trials. That's all.
Great. Thank you all panelists. I take the opportunity to thank each one of them for sharing their innovation ideas with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Dr. Vishwas, may I please request you to hand over a memento to each of our panelists? Could we please get the mementos, first from Mr. Paresh Panchal, CEO, CAMTools. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us in thanking our panelists for their time and for making this session extremely interesting. For Mr. Amit Kumar Parashar, Chief Operating Officer, Subros Limited. And for Mr. Shatyabrata Das, Senior General Manager, Tooling, IAC Group. May I request Mr. Gopalakrishnan to join us to hand over the memento to our moderator. Could we get a group picture with all of you? May I request you to step forward? Thank you so much, gentlemen.